Good evening, everybody, and welcome to an episode of Done Dissertation Office Hours. In today's episode, we're going to talk all things about how to get the cheat code to finishing your dissertation in 1 year or less. I want to say first, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that you, the doctoral student, can write and defend your dissertation in 1 year or less. This episode of Done Dissertation Office Hours is sponsored by our upcoming workshop called Design Your Done Dissertation. This 5-hour virtual event is being put on by us to help you all as doctoral students get the plan so that you can go into 2023 with a full implementation plan to finish your dissertation within the next year. There is no need for you to be sitting in a doctoral program anymore. And at Design Your Done Dissertation, we're going to give you all the tools you need to build out your plan. And then for those students who said they want more support to work with us, we will also talk about how you can work with us as well during the event. But this is going to be a great opportunity. This is our last time running this workshop for this year, and we probably may sunset this version of it as we're going to roll out some new workshops in 2023. So if you've been trying to figure out how to get an experience working with us, you've been on the sideline trying to figure out, do I want to work with Done Dissertation? This is the opportunity. Definitely come to this event. Design Your Done Dissertation. It's happening on Sunday, December 11th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And to learn more about this event and to get your ticket, visit www.designyourdissertation.com. And literally, this ticket is really, affordable for folks. Is at $49. This is something that we don't do in our programming, but we want to make sure that we get a lot of students who get the support that they need. And for those who want to continue working with us, we have other options for you all to do so. But you definitely do not want to miss this Design Your Done Dissertation event happening December 11th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. 5 hours with myself, my coaching crew. So shout out to Dr. Patricia Varela, who will be on doing some hot seat coaching with you all as participants, as well as you get to hear from some of our current and former clients who have come through our program about how they've implemented a plan to finish out their dissertation in 1 year or less. So you all definitely don't want to miss it. Shout out to you, Asia, on Instagram. It's good to see you. I've been seeing you shining on LinkedIn with all the work that you're doing supporting Black girls. I love what I've been seeing. I hope all is well. So in today's live, we're going to talk all about the cheat code to finishing your dissertation. But before we get into this, if you all do me a favor, as always, let me know in the comments who you are and where you're coming from. And then also share this with somebody, either in your timeline, in your stories, if you're on Instagram, somewhere where someone else can get some access to this. We want to help more doctoral students get the support that they need to get through this journey. So I'll give you all a second to do that so we can get this forward along. But it's good to see everybody who has tuned in so far. Yeah, and again, today's episode, we want to talk all about the cheat code because a lot of folks are trying to get through this process and trying to figure out how to do this, and we definitely want to talk about giving you the strategy to move forward. And Asia says, "Thanks. Now I am just now trying to figure out how to open code." Okay, but that means you collected your data. I mean, you had your data, but I know you're doing your data analysis. I love that. This is the best part about doing research is that when you have the opportunity to actually engage in your data collection and data analysis. And I'd love to hear about how your interviews went with your mentors and everything like that. So shout out to you. Asia is one of our former clients who worked with us during our May cohort and defended her dissertation proposal. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this. Thanks, Renee, for dropping the link in. So again, this episode is sponsored by Design Your Done Dissertation, our 5-hour workshop happening on December 11th. If you want to learn more about the event, go to www.designyourdissertation.com. And in today's episode, we're going to talk all things cheat code because a lot of you all want to finish the dissertation in 1 year or less and trying to figure out how do you do it. But here's the thing, and what I do know. In order, and this is part of the cheat code, in order to speed this process up, the first thing that you're going to have to do is forgive yourself for not hitting the goal of finishing your dissertation in 2022 and make a decision that you're going to finish in 2023. This is really important first because as part of the cheat code, you all probably thinking about what's the strategy? How do I do this quickly? But as you all, if you haven't realized it yet, you will quickly realize is that the dissertation is all about it's really much a mental process as much as it is a physical one in the art, the art and science of writing. It's really a mental journey that you are going along to become someone different than who you are right now. Because if you think about it, you're in a doctoral program. You started out as a consumer of knowledge. You were reading literature, trying to figure out what's happening. By the time you leave your program and earned your letters, the goal is for you to become someone who can then become a producer of knowledge. That is a totally different experience. And so you are going through this transformation. But first things first, when we all have these targets and these goals of finishing our, doctorate, oftentimes we put these year timeframes on, like, I'm not finishing out. I got to finish in 2022. we're at November, and a lot of folks have right now realizing like, shoot, I'm not gonna be able to defend in the next couple of weeks before the semester ends. So I'm gonna be going into 2023. First things I want you to do is forgive yourself for not hitting that goal. Like, release yourself from that burden, because a lot of folks say it's a weight on their back. So when we get people that talk to us about joining the Velocity Group coaching program, one of the comments we ask about how's your process been, they just say, I want to get this done because it's such a weight on my back. And what ends up happening is because you put all that pressure on yourself to get through this process, it can stifle some of you, especially if you succumb to just that pressure from feeling like you have to get this thing done, knowing that you have family and friends who are waiting for you. You're tired of going to the, Thanksgiving break, the Christmas break, and with them asking you, when are you going to be done? And this is definitely a part of this. But first things first, you got to forgive yourself for not being done right now. Once you're able to do that and you forgive yourself and truly, really take that in and believe that, now you can release yourself from that. And then what you can do next is then make a decision that, hey, in 2023, I'm not going to go another year with this document and this process hanging over my head. You all have to make this decision. And shout out to one of our recent graduates in our program, Dr. Erin Sorensen. I remember her talking about after she defended her dissertation a couple of weeks ago, we had our offboarding call. She just talked about this weight of the process being off of her and the fact that she can enjoy her holiday break. And I know for a lot of you all concerned about going to, if you celebrate Thanksgiving or, whatever holiday you might celebrate, going to those family functions and those events and people continuously asking you about your dissertation. Like, it's all right, y'all. You just have to forgive yourself and tell them like, hey, I'm still working. The process is going a little slower than I thought, but that's all right, because 2023, I'm going to make sure that I finish. And that's the first thing. But then it's not only important that you forgive yourself, right? Because, you could do that and forgive yourself. But then what you have to do is you have to make a decision. And what ends up happening for a lot of folks who don't forgive themselves, what they do right now is they get mad at everybody else. They get mad at the process. They say that the professor's not doing what they're supposed to do. They say that it's everybody else's fault but their own. And then what happens is that you just get mad and you don't seek help because you kind of get insulated you go in this cocoon because you really believe that, one, you're supposed to get through this process alone, and that two, you're ashamed. You should be ashamed of yourself because you didn't finish in the time you thought you would. Like, y'all, that is not the thing. And shout out to Carrie, who's dropping in on LinkedIn. It says, forgive yourself. So that's so good. Like, y'all got to. I hear all our clients talk about it all the time. It's like processes just don't go according to plan a lot of times. And so you just got to be enrolled with it. Forgiving yourself, the first thing. But second, you got to make a decision that you're going to change. Like, you recognize that what you've done throughout this year in 2022 has not worked. If you are not where you want it to be, you have to come to the conclusion that what your plan was and how you envision this working out for yourself has not worked. And a lot of y'all, that's a hard pill to swallow. That what you have really thought about and gone into this process with has not worked for you. And that's all right. But once you understand and come to the realization that this has not worked, you got to make a change. And so what that looks like is that you have to decide to put action in. And then what I do know is that if you decide to stay and pity yourself about like not getting things done, what will happen is that kind of mentality and mindset will linger with you. And what I do know, for those who pity themselves, they stay at ABD. Those who make a decision like, I'm going to change my actions because I have to do something different to get a different result, those are the people that finish their doctorate quickly. And that's the first step. And that's first part of the cheat code, is that you have to forgive yourself and then you have to make a decision to change, because what you did right now for this year did not work. If you did not earn your doctorate and that was your goal for 2022, and you are right now at a point in the process where you know that you're not going to defend before the year is out, you have to forgive yourself that you didn't hit that goal. But now we have to make sure we change our action to make sure 2023 looks very different for you all. Like, those of you who are listening right now, this should not be next year. You should be coming on these same lives, hearing me talk about this process. You should then be chiming in on the comments saying, yo, I finished. I applied what you talked about. I got help with a coach. I got the support that I needed to finish. I definitely want you all to really get that help and support that you all need. And that's the first thing first. When we're thinking about the cheat code, you got to forgive yourself. And these are the part of the mindset pieces that we're going to talk about in depth at our upcoming event called Design Your Done Dissertation, happening on December 11th. During this 5-hour event, we are going to talk about and break down the mindset of finishing the dissertation process and then the actionable strategies. Because without having the right mindset, the dissertation process can be insurmountable. And so if you're someone who needs the support and wants to get the help, definitely come to our upcoming event on December the 11th. To learn more about it, visit www.designyourdissertation.com. And this episode of Office Hours is sponsored by the Design Your Done Dissertation event. Make sure that you grab your ticket. You don't want to miss out. It's impactful to be there live while this is all happening, because if you try to catch on something on a replay is not the same as being in the room. And this is an opportunity to ask the questions, build a community, and really get the support that you need. So make sure that you join us on December 11th. And if you have a question about the event, feel free to shoot me a DM, but you definitely need to go to designyourdissertation.com to grab your ticket. And so when we talk about the cheat code, the step one is that you had to forgive yourself and make a decision to change. Now, the step two, this is going to be a hard part for a lot of you all, because I just know working with so many doctoral students in our programs and our university partners, this part's going to be hard for a lot of you all. You got to start becoming more obsessed with the journey than the end result. And that you're probably thinking like, why would you tell me that? I'm trying to get this doctor. I'm trying to get these letters. I'm trying to get this promotion at work. I'm trying to get my family off my back. I'm trying to pay back these student loans. Or I think as of today, I saw something right before I jumped on here that apparently Biden has, paused student loan payments again until June 2023. So y'all like hoping like, shoot, I need to get this done before the student loans kick in, like all that stuff. Y'all thinking about that, right? But you got to become, that's all about the end result and about things, what life looks like after. But you all got to start becoming obsessed with the journey. And again, I know your goal is to get the letters. That is part of the plan. That definitely is the end result. But the journey is actually way more important than the actual end result. And here's how I would give an analogy of how I'm looking at a lot of doc students as you all are approaching this process. And if this resonates with you and you're approaching it in this way, let me know in the comments just so I understand I'm on the right track with you all. So this is what I see, right? So for a lot of students, what's happening is, imagine you are walking down the street, right? You're walking to your favorite restaurant. And as you're getting ready to approach the restaurant, right in front of the door, the door's closed, but right in front of the door, you just happen to look down at the pavement at that point in time. You look down and you see $100 bill. And at that point in time, you're like, shoot, I kind of need that $100. It could really help out a little bit. But first things first, you can kind of look around, look to your left, look to your right. Make sure maybe somebody in front of you dropped the bill. You try to make sure that you check your surroundings because you don't know if it's a setup, whatever happens. But you find that the coast is clear. And you're like, shoot, this is $100 blessing. I'm about to go in this restaurant. I'm about to turn up for happy hour. It's about to be a whole vibe for happy hour. You go down to bend, you bend down to go to get the $100 bill. You reach for it, and next thing you know, this huge gust of wind blows that $100 bill down the street. And you're like, shoot, I really need that $100 bill. And it's just right down this is right there. I see it. I can just walk and grab it. So you decide, shoot, let me just walk down the street real quick. Let me just grab it. I see it right there. You start walking, like, bet, I got the money. I see it right there. You go to bend down again, and another gust of wind blows that money and continuously blows it down the street. And for some of y'all, be like, man, forget that. But today you're feeling like, man, I really need that money. I want to turn up at this happy hour. This could really buy all my drinks for the night. So you decide you're going to keep following that $100 bill down the street. But this time, you got a lot smarter. You say, you know what? I'm not going to just walk and try to chase it. I'm actually going to bend down and keep my head down and keep focused on the $100 bill so that if the wind blows, I can kind of go with it. But what ends up happening is that, you keep your head down, you're keeping your head walking, you see the $100 bill ahead, you're not really paying attention, but you're just so focused and your head is down just like this. You're so focused. Oh, I see the $100 bill. You go to reach for it. And right before you reach for it, you took that extra step. And you didn't realize because you had your head down and was just focused on the $100 bill that there was a huge pothole before you got to the $100 bill. And now as a result, what happens, you hit the pothole. Now you fall down, you sprain your ankle. You can't really walk that well. And then another gust of wind takes the $100 out of sight and you no longer have it within reach and it's gone. And I give that analogy because I see a lot of doctoral students having their head down, so focused on the end result, the thing that's moving, the degree, right? All the years and things that go by, the degree moves further and further. I feel like it's further and further away. And I see a lot of you all having your head down, so focused on reaching for the degree, wanting to go to the graduation parties, wanting to throw on that regalia, all that stuff that you find that is like the end result. But a lot of you all are not looking at the journey and the process that's going along. Because here's what I do know. If in this process of trying to secure that $100 bill, if you would have just stood up and looked at your surroundings and kept your eye focused on the goal, which was to get the $100, but then also looked at the pavement, seeing both of those at the same time, you would have been able to avoid the pothole, move around, and successfully grab the $100 bill. And what ends up happening in a lot of you all's journeys is that you all have been so focused and targeted on the degree that you haven't looked up to recognize that there's a process going on. And what ends up happening is that you all have let the potholes of your dissertation process derail you from the journey. Whereas if you had been standing up and really been trying to view what's going on, it would make the process so much easier. You would have been, all right, let me take a step here. Like some of those potholes might be, having an instance when you might not be getting along with your chair and you all having conflict. Oh shoot, I saw that power comment. Let me put this to the side. I can move to the side and make sure I get around that. Or you feel like I'm not a strong academic writer, but I know that that's a pothole for me. So I'm going to move to the side. I'm going to get some support on my academic writing. Like all these things build up. But a lot of you all get so focused and you're like, shoot, I'm just trying to finish the dissertation. And then you look up and then you all have been stuck and all that time has passed and the goal seems so insurmountable. And at some point, it gets to a point where it feels like the degree has blown away in the wind like that $100 bill did. It looks to be out of sight. And a lot of you all that have probably felt this at one point in time and know this might be the case for you. And I just want you all to let you all know that don't get caught up in that. You want to become so obsessed with the journey that as a result of being along this journey that you will get to the end result. It makes it so much easier. I had to learn this the hard way because when I was a doc student, as you all know, I wrote my dissertation fairly quickly, right? 7 months to actually write the dissertation. So I wrote it from August of 2014, and I was done writing and had a full document together in 2015, in March of 2015. At my university, the requirement was that after it's approved by your committee and your chair, it has to go to the department chair. When I got to the department chair level, my department chair at the time said, Remotus is good, but there's some things that need to be done and it's not quite ready for defense. And by the time I could turn everything around and all the edits and suggestions to get it back to the department chair for a final review, I hit the end of April into May. And as you all know, that's when faculty leave for the semester, and I was just out of luck. And at that point in time, I was hyper focused on the goal of finish my dissertation. But then I had to take a step back. I was like, look, I'm not going to defend right now. I can't be salty about it. What can I do? And what's the journey? What's the lesson I'm going to learn? I said, oh, I have a completed dissertation. My goal is to become faculty when I graduate. I'm going to treat the next 4 to 5 months as a postdoc, and I'm actually going to write for my dissertation. And so literally me taking a step and looking up instead of being so hyper focused on the goal allowed me to see the landscape that I literally had a paid postdoc because I had a job that was really flexible. And I had 4 to 5 months with no classwork and no dissertation I had to do. So literally I took all those 4 and 5 months and I just wrote. So by the time I came back in the fall, I had 3 journal articles published, and then I had 9 under review. And literally those 4 months in that time frame allowed me to propel me to be very successful as a faculty member. So in about 5.5 years, I've written over 60 publications. But that time, having that 4 to 5 months where I experienced a setback actually set me up for a career of success. And I think a lot of us don't think about it like that. We're often think about like we didn't reach our goal, but we're not thinking about what's the journey that we're on and why does this path our unique path. And I think this is something that you all really got to start considering. And again, in this step, in terms of the cheat code, becoming more obsessed about the journey than the end result is something that we're going to discuss in depth at Design Your Dissertation, our 5-hour virtual event happening on December 11th. Our goal is to help give you the roadmap so that you can avoid all the potholes that are going to trip you up along this process. And you definitely don't want to miss this, from how to work with your committee, to thinking through what are they looking for when you're writing chapters, to what is my actual plan? What is the timing on this thing? What do I really need to do to get this done in the time frame that I want to get this done for myself? And I know this strategy works. A lot of our clients come through with the belief that they can't achieve the goal, because in our Velocity Group Coaching Program, our goal is to help doc students finish either a dissertation proposal or get to their final defense in 4 months. And so for a lot of folks, they come in saying, ooh, I don't think I could do that. I'm thinking about Dr. Sorensen, who came in and said, I don't know, that's pretty ambitious. I just want to wait till 2023 to finish. And I said, no, like, Aaron, just do this right now. Put these processes in place, and I promise you that you will finish. And it's in 4 months, for like actually wrote 6 chapters and turned this thing around and had defended her dissertation. Like this can happen when you have the mentality that 1, you're not gonna feel sorry for yourself, 2, that you're gonna make a decision, and 3, that you become very obsessed with the journey more than the end result. And I think that's important for a lot of you all. And so shout out to K Herb for Lise. I see you have a request on Instagram to jump on and ask your question. I will do so at the end of this. So if you just stay tuned, I will be happy to answer your question and have you pop on live. But real quick, let me know if anything has resonated with you all. And then for folks who are tuning in, if you want to come to this event, make sure you grab your ticket at www.designyourdissertation.com. And with that, I do want to give a quick shout out to folks who have been tuning in, particularly on YouTube. We started our YouTube channel just trying to grow it, and we've reached 100 followers on YouTube, and it's been a slow roll, but I just want to say thank you all to those 100 folks who have followed us on YouTube. We really do appreciate your support. I just saw that today before I jumped on live, so I appreciate you all. So again, just to recap for folks who are just tuning in, we first talked about in our cheat code, first you have to forgive yourself and recognize that you're going to make a change, and that what you did this year did not work, and that you're willing to make a change to do something different. So that's the first step, and as part of the cheat code. Then the second aspect of the cheat code is that you have to become more obsessed with the journey than the end result. And for a lot of folks, that hurts because you get so hyper focused on getting your doctorate done that you're not thinking about the journey and what's happening in your process. And a lot of times you make simple mistakes because you're focused on looking out so far and you're not focused on right now. Like literally this happens when folks start working with us because they're, our programs in 4 month, works in 4 month increments with our clients. A lot of our clients, right before they start working with us, they're like, wait a minute, what happens after the 4 months? And I'm like, y'all are thinking about so far down the line. I'm like, what's happening tomorrow with your writing? That should be more of the concern to you than what's going to happen in 4 months from now. Because I know if we put the steps in place, that you will reach your goal. And so with that, the last aspect of the cheat code that I want to talk about is that, once you've forgiven yourself and then once you just become obsessed with the journey, you have to have a plan to finish the dissertation process. Without a plan, you have nothing going on. And this is what I do see. I see a lot of folks that reach out to us, or a lot of you all have these grand plans with no action items on the plan. So it's just a grand plan with just smoke screen. It's just a smoke screen from doing no work. And it sounds good, right? It sounds good. And I hear this when I ask people, I said, all right, what's your plan, for the next, week or so? I'm going to finish chapter 2. Okay, cool. How are you going to do that? And then the response is usually like, I'm going to write 30 minutes a day. All right, cool. That's the start of the plan. But a lot of y'all stop at that point and don't carry out the plan from there. Like I always promote consistent writing. That's something I talk about in my book, 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation, right? So that's something you definitely should be doing. But what you're missing in this process is like, not only is it important to have consistent writing, but what happens with your chair? How do they want you to send them your dissertation chapters? Do they want all of them at once? Do they want them chapter by chapter? What's the turnaround time for your chair to give you feedback on a chapter? What do you all do when you have a disagreement on a particular action item from your chair? How do you all resolve those conflicts? Like these are things that when you think about writing a chapter, you all probably are not thinking about with your plan. And that's a step further in this process that a lot of folks stop. You stop at, I'm going to consistently write every day, and that's it. Like that's going to be the end result, the magic bullet, but it's not, because you have to have a plan for everything else. And I always say your plan is not for things to go well. Your plan is, like my financial advisor would always tell us, is that your plan is to plan for the worst case scenario. So you really got to start thinking about your plan and having one. And for those of you all who don't have one, this is exactly why you need to be at our event. Especially if you're trying to go into 2023 and say, hey, I'm going to knock out this dissertation. You definitely need to be at Design Your Done Dissertation on December 11th to get your plan to finish. And again, these plans are critical. And I promise you, if you choose to not have a plan, you will choose to not have a degree. And again, I'll say that one more time. If you choose to not have a plan, you will choose to not have a degree. I promise you. I've seen it over and over again. Doc students going into this journey thinking I'm just going to write my way to to finishing. And that's just one piece of the puzzle. There's so much going on with the process. There's so much going on with the people, your chair, your committee members. All these things are happening, and you got to start thinking about it now. And a lot of us are not thinking about it and then getting confused because we didn't plan for it. It's something that's really, really important and really key to finishing. And I want to give an example for one of our clients who is getting ready to defend in a couple of weeks. And so this is a client who was past proposal defense and writing up their findings chapters and discussion chapter, and initially had their chapters have been kicked back by the committee for various reasons, prior to working with us. And so we helped streamline the chapters and working with them to finish. So initially they had a full complete dissertation together, and they presented it to their chairs. In this case, they had a couple different co-chair situation, and the co-chairs decided for whatever reason that this document was not up to their standard of what they wanted, even though it was a great document. Like it was really well done. Having seen so many dissertations, this was a great dissertation I was able to read and look at. In that process, because the student had a plan, they were able to say, you know what, this joint hurts, and like feel it right for a day. But then they're like, shoot, I got a plan. I got to recover because I know my end date, I need to be done by X date in order to graduate and defend. And so because they had that date and they had backwards map, they say, look, I know what I need to do to get this done. And so literally what they would do is go chapter by chapter to implement the edits, implement the strategies, and get the whole project done to the satisfaction of their committee, even though they didn't need to do that because the dissertation was already powerful. But they went that extra step in the process because they had a plan. Without that plan, for a lot of students, you end up, faltering in this process. And because this process will challenge you in ways that you are not always prepared for, and it just is what it is. We literally had this conversation last night in our office hours call with our clients in Velocity, and we talked about on one student mentioned because they had a similar experience where their committee chair said, "Up, nah, this is not working. Let's push back your defense." And in their case, they were like distraught about it, which I understood, right? Because like, why tell me this at the last minute? But then recognizing that, and they came to the conclusion, like, wow, this is like a really mental process. And so I can see if, and they said, I can see if my mindset was not right, I can see easily how I or others could crumble in this dissertation journey. And this is so true to a lot of folks, and the reason why a lot of people don't finish. And so when you have a plan in place, it becomes so much easier to prepare, and it's so much easier to execute when you hit adversity, because there will be adversity in this process. Just like my situation, I finished my dissertation quickly, ran into all these snafus on timing. But then I said, my plan is I want to become faculty. And I know that in order to become faculty, I got to publish. And at that point, I had started to publish and started to get some momentum, but I hadn't really cranked it up. And literally for me, those 4 or 5 months of, the wait time is what I called it. I wrote a piece in op-ed and a piece in Inside Higher Ed in 2015. And I talk about this wait time. Me being in that wait time was the reason why I was able to finish my dissertation and launch into my faculty career with the publications, so that when I rolled and I started as a faculty member, my first year I hit the ground running with like 20 publications. Folks were like, whoa, how is he doing this? Like, I had prepared and started putting things in motion so that I could succeed. But it all talk about having a plan. And a lot of us don't plan for this process, and it's the reason why you all are where you are. And this is why I think that you need to join us at our upcoming event called Design Your Done Dissertation. This 5-hour virtual event has the goal of helping you develop a dissertation completion plan that will help you finish your dissertation in 1 year or less. Not only we're going to talk about mindset, because again, as you all recognize from the work that I do with you all on these lives, I'm trying to help disrupt the current mindset you all have so that you can crack the code, so that you can finish the dissertation process quickly. Because I do know is that once you shift your mindset, nothing gets in your way. At that point, it doesn't matter, difficulties at home, difficulties at work. Nothing gets in your way if this is your goal and you want this more than anything. People recognize like, oh, I just got to make this a priority and really live up to this being a priority like everything else I put above this in my life currently. But first things first, at the event, we're going to talk all about mindset and disrupting the mindset around the process as well as writing, because a lot of us struggle with writing, and it's not because the skill of writing, it's sometimes because of our mindset. We're going to talk all about the mindset of writing. And then we're going to go into the process and really carve out and really help you all leave with a plan that you all can implement. And then you're going to be able to get some coaching so that you get some support that's important to your particular situation. So you'll be able to come on with myself and my other coach, Dr. Patricia Varela, and talk with us about what's going on in your process, and for us to give you some actionable strategies based on your unique situation. And then from there, we're going to you're going to be able to hear from our current and former clients about their experience working with us and how they too have implemented a plan and how they have navigated and overcome the barriers that will, oftentimes disrupt a lot of folks from getting the success they need with their dissertation. So make sure that if you're interested in going to this event, go to www.designyourdissertation.com. If there are any questions, let me know. And I know Instagram, if you Herb Lease, if you want to put your request in, I'll jump on in a second to chat with you about your question that you might have. But I definitely look forward to seeing you all at the event. And bring a friend too. Don't just hoard the information, right? Bring a friend. You got another student, you got a cohort mate that's struggling, trying to figure out how they're gonna get through. They say 2023 is the new me. Like whatever that is, if y'all going to the new year like that, like bring them to this event. They need the support too. Definitely don't hoard this information. Share this with your cohort mates. Share this with other doc students that are going through the process, because folks need a lot of help and folks need support to getting through this thing. And so make sure that you pass this information along to others so that they get the help that they need also to develop their plan to finish their dissertation in the next year. And with that, we'll take any questions that folks might have on Instagram. Shout out, I see Cheryl there. Good to see you, Cheryl. Hope all is well. I know Carrie was on. Renee, thank you for dropping on. We have C. Dover, 1978. Good to see you as well. If you're still on, good to see you all. If you all are on, just drop me a comment. Let me know if you have any questions before we wrap things up this evening. But again, I hope this was helpful as you all are thinking through how to get through this process. Because again, as you all have recognized, it's all about having actionable strategies to finish the dissertation quickly. If there are any questions, please let me know. And I know there's a request to come on Instagram. So if you have a question on Instagram and you want to ask it, feel free to just put a request in and I'll be glad to take your question. And with that, I don't see, I'm just checking Facebook, check a color or place to give you all a second to type your question in. If you have another question on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, just shoot me a message or shoot me a comment and I will definitely follow up with you related to your question. And thanks to Courtney Kurtz for dropping in on the video today. I really do appreciate you for dropping on. I do see that you're on Facebook, so it's good to see you as always. So any questions that folks might have, please let me know. So with that, don't go through this process alone, y'all. Get the support that you need, get help. Recognize that, your way of doing things has not worked and that you need to do something different if you want a different result. And so with that, let's get you the support that you need. Definitely come to the event. If you know, like, shoot, I don't want the event, I need help. I need to work with you all, fast track the line. Go to our website at www.velocitydissertation.com if you want to apply to work with us and get the support that you need to get in our coaching program right now if you need that support. And with that, I don't see any questions. I'm just doing my checks around. I think we are good to go. Well, as always, I want to say thank you all so much for tuning into this episode of Done Dissertation Office Hours. It is good to see you all. I hope you all have a blessed holiday. If you're writing a dissertation, take a break. If you're in coursework, take a break. A day or two, you need this for yourself. This is the time. I've seen a lot of our clients that are even my doc students myself. I teach a proposal class this semester. And I'm seeing a lot of students, getting colds and getting sick. Like, this process will wear you down. So take the next couple of days. If you need it, take this time to, really recharge your battery and get yourself going so that come after the weekend, you can hit the ground running and get the, this process moving forward. And Taylor Chick, is that Sharon? Good to see you, Sharon, as always. So if you all need support, make sure that you reach out to us. But if not, I want to see you all at our event. But I hope you all have a blessed Thanksgiving and holiday weekend. And I look forward to seeing you all next week on Done Dissertation Office Hours. We're going to talk about the number one thing that you need to finish your dissertation process quickly. So make sure that you drop on and tune in with us next week. And if you see this on any social media platform, share this with somebody who could use and benefit from the information. Until next time, good people, I hope you all have a great